You are listening to ChartingWealth.com for Friday, the 23rd of June, 2017. We see that stocks are down for the day, both the S&P 500, QQQ, the NASDAQ 100. We see that TLT, the 20-year bond fund, continues to go up. Aren't you glad we had that weekly vertical crossover and the two-day crossover, and we're continuing to follow that up to more and more profits. And gold up for the day. Let's continue to go through these charts and figure out what's going on. Yes, but before we jump into that, I so appreciated all the emails, all the interest in our mastering the S&P 500 with the quarterly chart. We did that training as promised. We got it out to everyone who registered and was qualified last night. If you did sign up and received notice, please check your email. You should have received in fact, we responded to everybody. I was up very late last night responding to hundreds of requests and notifying everyone that yes, it is available and has been sent out. Thank you for all the great responses. If you've not had a chance to listen to it yet and you are on that list, please give us some good feedback on it. We worked hard on it. It's about a 22-minute training. We're very proud of it, and the feedback so far has been tremendous. But if you have questions, you have problems, concerns, suggestions, please let us hear from you. And guess what that means, folks? It means that coming up pretty soon, we're going to have the special new chart we have on Bitcoin. Now, again, we're not going to start following Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not traded as far as options go or anything like that. There's no inverse to Bitcoin, but we do have a cool chart that deals with the true strength index that we're going to share with you. In order to get that, you have to be signed up and registered at the website. How do you do that? All you do is go to chartingwealth.com and you subscribe to our daily market review. Cost you nothing. And again, as you all know, we don't sell your email addresses. We don't spam. It is just between us. Okay, folks, let's jump right into these markets. The S&P 500. Start off first on the weekly. Remember last week it was too close for us to call as far as a weekly vertical crossover going down. We may have one at the end of this week. It just really depends, my friends. It is a hard one to call. We still have the green box for the derivative oscillator. It's not negative yet. We would much more like to see it in a category like it was back on the 7th of April. But it is not. It's still green. That concerns us. The PPO is barely crossed over, and we'll just have to see how the market ends up on Friday, whether or not to call that as a weekly vertical crossover yet. What does that mean? Well, we were down for the day. As we look at the two-day chart, you can see that we did have a two-day crossover back on the two-day candle ending on the 20th of June. But again, that does not mean, particularly the way it's been sliding sideways and such, that we're going to be jumping into anything anytime soon. We could. We do see that we haven't had a full pullback yet, of course. We simply have not had a crossover since the 21st on once that two-day chart crossed over moving down. The 4-hour chart has still not pulled back significantly enough yet, and we just aren't pulling a verified vertical crossover on that weekly. We'll continue to watch. Maybe things will set up for us. We just don't feel real comfortable yet. Want to make sure that the S&P has topped out. And it's fooled us a couple of times before, or at least tried to. And again, we just want to be careful there. So again, let's just keep an eye on that. Down 0.05% for the day. What's going on QQQ? Remember, we had a very weak weekly vertical crossover going on at the end of last week on the 16th. Again, hesitant to actually call that too. We are showing it on our chart. A few days before, we had a two-day vertical crossover. As we look at things on the two-day chart, you can see that was on the 12th. That was Monday the 12th. And again, what's it done? Well, we had some up movement. For the day, it was down just barely 0.03%. And again, the two-day candle doesn't even hardly reflect that. Now, if we bore into things and take a look at the 4-hour chart, what do we see? Well, we see the pullback is underway. And if this pullback doesn't end up being a rout, and that is it pulls the weekly and the 2-day into an up position, because remember, the little wave starts. If it builds, it turns into the medium-sized wave. That's the 2-day chart. And then the big wave, the weekly chart. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe it's just a pullback. If it crosses over going down and the charts are still where they are as far as the PPO on the 2-day chart going down and on the weekly chart barely crossed over and going down, then of course that would be our entry point. So keep watching the cues. We don't know if this market's topped out yet. Looks like it may have, but we are trend followers. We are not forecasters. Remember, you don't want to be greedy and get hammered. You want to follow the trend. Once the trend is established, what we're telling you right now is there is no established trend. Okay, let's keep moving through these charts. Going to TLT, that's the 20-year bond fund. It is continuing to climb. It was up for the day 0.22%. Remember, way back in February, we had that weekly vertical crossover. It's been in effect the entire time. The last 2-day chart to crossover was on Friday, the 19th of May. Let's zoom into that 2-day chart. And we see that the market has been up pretty much since then. We're above the weekly trend line, and we have a nice 2-day trend line connecting 3 candles that we are above at this point also. Things are looking nice on TLT. We're continuing to let that ride. Let's look at our 4-hour chart just to wrap it up. Again, keep an eye on things. 4-hour chart is getting long in the tooth. So again, if it rotates over going down, you can get out and take your profit. If it keeps riding, let it keep riding. Remember, bonds are typically inversely related to stocks. That's why we follow bonds and why we follow gold, because they typically give us something that moves up when stocks move down and vice versa. So continue to keep an eye on TLT. It is working for us right now. Now let's go back to this weekly chart, and we're going to lastly touch on gold, up 0.34%, 0.34 for the day. Now gold was trying to get close to crossing over. We thought we might have had it. We've talked about it. What did we tell you? You don't have a crossover until the week ends. We do have the derivative oscillator. Unlike the S&P 500, the derivative oscillator is in the red on gold. We'll just have to see what happens to gold on Friday. Does it, at the end of the day, move down again? And do we have a confirmed crossover going down? Hasn't happened yet. Looks like it's trying to do so. The 2-day chart, of course, has already crossed over going down. It did that on the 2-day candle ending on the 16th of June. But we have this latest candle being drawn is a green up candle still below the 2-day trend line. Let's look at the 4-hour chart, see what we see. 4-hour chart's trying its best to cross over going up. Hasn't happened yet. Remember how accurate this 4-hour chart is. We talk about it being a total chart. You can practice trade this 4-hour chart time after time, day after day. Is that not beautiful that it seems to work every time? Every time. It's just beautiful. Rarely does it not work. It's so gorgeous. So anyway, we will continue to follow the 4-hour chart. And of course, you can always use our typical method for trading. But when you find a one-size-fits-all chart that works over and over again like the 4-hour chart does on gold, seems to stop working at the end of the year and at the beginning of the new year. But then about mid-January starts working again, stops working about mid-December. We'll continue to keep an eye on this. Let's see if it crosses over going up. Folks, that's where we ended the markets on Thursday as we go into Friday the 23rd of June. We appreciate you being with us. Again, we will be coming up with our Bitcoin chart in the very near future, and we look so forward to sharing that with you, give you a little sneak peek. We've done that a couple of times before. It is a really cool chart. It uses a true strength index. Same setup with our Bollinger Bands, moving averages, that kind of stuff. But we found over and over again that this true strength chart seems to work for us, and it works on the 2-hour. So we'll do a training on that in the future. In order to get it, you've got to go ahead and be signed up for our daily market review, chartingwealth.com. No matter where you are in the world, we know that folks who are overseas, you cannot sign up for our text notification service for the weekly vertical crossovers. Have people write me all the time. I've tried in Argentina, I've tried in Japan, I've tried in Germany, but you can always listen to that weekend comprehensive review that we do, and we will announce weekly vertical crossovers. Those of you in the States and Canada, please go ahead and text to the number 33222. Put that number in your phone. That's the number you're like dialing. That's where the text message is going to go. 33222. We know it's shorter than a regular telephone number. Once you put that number in, that's like the number you're dialing, 33222. Put in the word Charting Wealth, one word, Charting Wealth. Those instructions are in the email you get if you subscribe to our daily podcast. You can also find that at our YouTube channel, same instructions. Thank you so much, folks. God bless. Sorry we're getting this one out late tonight. We've been traveling today. All the best from the folks here at chartingwealth.com.